ABC, it's Dave here. I thought I would get on here and do a part of a thread video that's about started out as acoustic guitar, and Julius Jabbar or Sherv had shown this album here by Bolosete, and he created a thread about acoustical solo guitar. Now the ones he's shown on his channel, which by the way I'll leave a link to his channel below, but the ones that he showed were mostly, I think they were just about all just solo guitar, and that's all they were, like no other accompaniment, you know, it's just the guitar. And these Bolosete albums are really good. I also have this one here called Jungle Suite. Really like the covers on these. And on it, underneath that, it has solo guitar right there. And these are, I think they're a subsidiary of Windham Hill. At least this one here is. This one here came out on I think Dancing Cat Records or something like that, which may be a subsidiary of it as well, but it's like that. Anyway, they're real good albums, and due to Sherv's video, I started listening to them all again and wanted to, you know, contribute to his thread. Now all of mine aren't going to be complete solo albums like that either, and I didn't really know how to do this. I mean, there's a lot of ways I guess you could do it, but I'm just going to wing it. I guess that's the best way to do it. I've already shown this one many times before. This is John Abercrombie's solo album, Characters, and this has got him with acoustic and electric guitars, and also electric mandolin is on it as well. But it's sort of in the same mold as those Sete albums. This one is also a lot like that John Abercrombie album, I think, in a lot of ways. This is Pat Metheny's new Checkwa, I believe is how you say it, perhaps. But again, it's Pat Metheny on electric 6-string, 12-string guitars, acoustic guitars. He plays a 15-string harp guitar and the electric bass. So he does some overdubbing on this, but yeah, you know, it's in the same mood, I would say, as the Abercrombie and the Bolosete albums. The things that are a little bit different about that these Sete albums, though, is that he's a Brazilian guitarist. Let's see. And so you have, on one hand, you've got the, you know, his ethnicity, or, you know, the region of the world that he comes from, and you've also got him playing, you know, on this particular type guitar, which is, it looks like to me it's a classical nylon string guitar, and that gives him, you know, the type tone that he does. And so with the Metheny guitar album I showed, and the Characters album by John Abercrombie, now I assume they play steel strings, so there's going to be a little bit of difference in the tone on those. But as far as that goes, I would say this would be a real close second to the Sete albums. This is Juka Tolonen Mountain Stream. Now he plays an acoustic guitar, nylon string, much like Bolosete, but this album isn't all solo guitar either. He also plays piano, and there's some of that on here. And he's a Finnish musician. I believe he used to play with a Finnish progressive band called Wigwam, and he started out and did some of his own solo albums as well. But this is a really good album if you can ever find it or run across it. Like I said, it's got him playing piano on it as well, and the very last song right there is a Sunrise Samba. So there is a little bit of a Latin influence on this album here. But as far as the tonal quality, I thought this matched pretty well with the Sette albums. Another one that I like a lot is this one here. This is on ECM. Egberto Gismonti, Sol do Mio Dia. And he's on here with a lot of the ECM artists, but as you can see him right there, he's also playing a classical nylon string guitar, which is very similar to the way Sette's albums sound tonally. And he's joined on here by Ralph Towner, who also plays a guitar, probably 12-string, and Gismonti plays an 8-string guitar on here. But you've also got like Nana Vasconcelos on here, who does some of the percussion, and I always really liked his stuff. You've got Ralph Towner. Colin Wilcox plays on here as well, and I always liked his stuff as well. I like all these people on here. And I think Jan Jabbar is on here, who plays, let's see, soprano saxophone on one cut. So you've got, various, Egberto Gismonti also plays the kalimba, wood flute, and does some kind of wordless vocals, along with probably Vasconcelos. But overall, tonally, although this isn't just a solo only album, it has those Latin influences or Brazilian influences, and I thought this was a lot like Sette's album as well. Now here's another one by Gismonti on the ECM label, and it says solo, so I assume everything on here. Now he may play, and it's been a while since I heard it. I listened to the other one today, but this one here, I assume he plays all the instruments on here, and there may be some piano on here as well. But if you get any of these albums, or if you haven't heard Gismonti's music, you probably want to get more by him, because his stuff is just really, really good. And here's another one that's a musician from Brazil, Luisa Bonfa, along with Don Burrows. Luisa Bonfa has played with everybody from Stan Getz to other jazz musicians. This is a duo album, although there's other people on it as well. Luisa Bonfa plays the Ovation guitar, acoustic guitars, but it has that kind of not particularly samba, although some of that may be on here, but that sort of South American feel to it. Don Burrows plays the flute, alto saxophone, along with bamboo flute and percussion. There's another guy on here, a George Gullah, that plays a 7-string guitar, and then there's bass and drums and other stuff as well. But it's along the style of, say, that Bola Sette album. It's just got added musicians on it. Of course, you got to mention, Django Reinhardt too, and these are all Django Reinhardt CDs, or albums. And I started collecting some of his albums way back when, And I found a bunch of these on this Pathé label, which is a French label. And most of them are, some are in stereo and some are in, or in mono. But again, these are all with quartets and other people. Some of them he plays with Stefan Graffelli on violin. Now he does have one album out that he plays just solo guitar alone, and you can look that up on the internet and see which one that is. But it's a two record set. It might be out on CD as well, which would be a good way to get it. But yeah, I thought I'd just mention Reinhardt here and show some of the albums. But anyway, so you've got him, and this differs a little bit from the Sette stuff because it's more, well, if you've ever heard Reinhardt play, it's kind of more of a cabaret type feel to it. Now this one here kind of is more, this is John McLaughlin, Al Di Meola, and Paco de Lucia. And they all three play, it's a trio album. But a large part of this, and it's all acoustics, this one and also this one here is really good. This is a live set that they did in Friday night in San Francisco. And both these albums are really excellent, actually. I really enjoy them. And they had that sort of kind of South American, Brazilian feel to it. But yeah, I could recommend any of these albums as well, even though they're not, all solo. This is one just by, well, I take that back. I started to say this is just by Paco de Lucia, but it's not. This is his Castro Marin record, but actually he has other acoustic guitarists on it as well. He plays on here with John McLaughlin and Larry Coryell as well, and you can see the guitars there. I'm assuming this one here, which is an Ovation, is John McLaughlin's, because he was always known for playing Ovation guitars. But yeah, real good album in that regard. Now, to get away, once you get away from that, you have other acoustical guitars. Now this one here isn't all solo. Well, I say it's all solo. There's one cut on here where he's helped out by Alex DeGrassi. This is Daniel Hecht Willow's album on Windham Hill. There's a lot of these Windham Hill artists that there's similarities in their music, and this one is the same, although I kind of like this album actually, except for the cover. I'm not too keen on that cover. It's kind of just like a blurry photograph. Here's one that a friend of mine took. He's a photographer, and I think something like that would actually be a little bit better. It's a better photograph, personally, but that's just my 2 cents. But yeah, this is actually a pretty good album, and like I said, he plays 6 and 12 string on it. It's on the Windham Hill label. This is another one on the Windham Hill label, and with these, there's not that Brazilian influence. This is has more Americana influence on it. David Qualley's Soliloquy. Although with this one, and it's all solo guitar, and here he is on the back. Now the difference between David Qualley's music on Windham Hill, as you can see in here, he's playing thing that to me looks like one of those nylon string guitars, and it comes off that way because it's warmer in tone, and whereas the steel string acoustic guitars are slightly brighter, or quite a bit brighter sometimes. But this one is more mellow in tone, which I'm pretty sure is from his nylon string guitar there. But yeah, this is a really good album too, actually. David Qualley Soliloquy solo guitars. But again, instead of having any kind of South American influence, it has more of a Americana influence. This is another one. This is Alex DeGrassi's Turning Back, and again, it's on the Windham Hill label, and is very close to the same type of stuff that Will Eicherman did, which is this guy here. And this, I think, is the first Will Eicherman album, Childhood in Memory, that I bought. Now, he was the founder of Windham Hill, and they kind of got known as a new age label, although I don't think that quite is quite a good description. I mean, it's just acoustical guitar music, but you know, you do have that evocative feeling to a lot of the music on their albums and everything. It's kind of evocative and you know, emotional, I guess you could say. But I've always liked Will Eicherman. Good way to start a day. But yeah, him and Alex DeGrassi are very similar in their styles, along with some of the other ones that I've shown, and they play like a steel string guitar. This is another guy I like, and I like this album by him too. This is Michael Hedges, Aerial Boundaries. I got to see Michael Hedges live. He opened for Crosby, Stills and Nash there in Dallas, and his stuff is real expansive, even though it's acoustical, and I'm sure he plays through pedals and everything to kind of give him that sound. But he was really an excellent guitarist. He has died since many years back, but I have several albums by him, and he did a live album called Live on Double Planet. The earlier albums, let's see, this one, Breakfast in the Field, which was his first one, I think, and these are on Windham Hill on the Windham Hill label as well, like right down there. Are all pretty good. I have his, but what I was going to say is all these are just guitar only, and later on he started adding vocals to his albums. His Live on the Double Planet I've always really liked a lot as well, where he sings more on, but he does it really well, and I like the songs that he picked to put on there. This album here is by William Eaton, and I don't know much about this album. I just kind of, you know, saw the album cover and it kind of appealed to me. I bet you anything, this is kind of a self-produced album, and just from what I could read on Discogs, I think they said it was self-produced. It just says music by William Eaton on it, down there here at the bottom. And it is all solo guitar pieces by him, and I bet he even drew the cover, and like I said, put out the album as well, and probably even, you know, I guess that's the same. There's the label. But for being all self-produced and everything, it sounds pretty well. And some of the more rare ones well, from what Discogs says, in the dead wax, you can kind of tell if you got a rare one. I don't think too many of these were printed, but for what it is, it's a fairly interesting album, I think, by William Eaton, excuse me. And then you also have stuff like, now this is one, some people have shown some Mark Lang, I think. This is more Americana music in the style of somebody like Leo Kottke and John Fahey. This is a John Fahey cassette right here. Visits Washington, D.C. And this album here by Mark Lang, Texas John Bosco, is very much in that style. All acoustic guitar and slide, banjo, mandolin. Very much in sort of a self-produced vein, I guess you could say. But and I like Leo Kottke a lot. I have several of his albums, but I didn't pull any. But this is on Symposium Records. I can't say it. I believe Chris Kibler showed this one. This is one of the Kottke albums. Circle Around the Sun. And I believe he showed this one as well. Ralph Towner solo concerts. And he may have showed this one as well. Larry Coryell European Impressions. There's Larry right there, and that looks like an Ovation guitar, which that other album I showed might have been his guitar too, as far as I know. But yeah, recorded live in Montreux. And then you have other people too. Here's one by Earl Klug. His stuff is more jazzy and sort of soft jazz. And again, he doesn't just play solo. There's a lot of other musicians on here, quite a few actually, if you'll look there on the side. But he does play a nylon string guitar like this, which has a softer tone to it. So I thought I'd show it. But there's people on here like Dave Grusin, Lee Ritenour, several other studio musicians are on here with him. Like I said, it's sort of soft jazz. But anyway, all that is my 2 cents, and I wanted to come on here and add to the thread. I know, like I said, Sherv started it, and then other people like Chris Kibler, and I believe Mazzy did one, and Comic Rima did one. So I want to come on here and add my 2 cents to it as well. It was interesting kind of looking through some of these old albums again. Of course, I pulled some out and listened to them as well, so I could, you know, familiarize myself with it. So it was really interesting on that label. But yeah, today was a beautiful day here in Texas. It was warm. You know, it nearly got up to like, I think, 80 degrees. Of course, we're, you know, due to have a cold front come in tonight, it'll, you know, kick it back down to 40 degrees. But for right now, it was a really pleasant day, really beautiful day. So enjoy your holidays, and I'll talk to you later.